Welcome back, folks. This is the Simply Successful podcast. I am your host, Sue, and today we're going to dive deeper into the topic of purposefully growing your business and how to determine if you're really productive or actually just busy running in a daily rat race. So stay tuned. Welcome to this interesting topic today, and I can't mention it enough that we really have to take a minute and take a breather today. And I want to invite you, whatever it is you're doing right now, set up yourself, set aside some time to just listen and reflect. Because in this world, in the age, we're so busy running. We're running, hustling, grinding after the next step, the next phone call, the next meeting, the next, you name it. Like when I talk to people these days and they're telling me about their day and they're like in a rush, just saying hi real quick and like getting real anxious if we want to like unplanned kind of talking like more than a couple minutes because they're always like on the verge to go somewhere else. I notice that people can rarely breathe. Like they're so shallow with their breathing and even their voice and how they like talk about their days and what's next and what they have on their to-do list. And they're going like faster and faster and faster, and you can't always or almost not even catch up with what they're actually saying. And I like in those moments I just want to say, hold on a second, take a breather, and let's investigate if this is really the right route to go. I know so many of us don't do this intentionally. No, we're just getting in that rat race of competition, and we're looking left and right, and we see, oh, my colleague or whatever, my partner, he worked up till like 9, 10 p.m. at night, and I was off my computer at 8:30. So, oh my God, now all of a sudden I feel that pressure to compete, and I need to put even more to-dos on my list. And we really think that if we're running faster and harder in this rat race, in this hamster wheel, that this will bring us closer to the mountaintop and to our end goal. And if you're with me on that journey and on my listening to my podcast for a while, you know a bit of my story. But here is my 2 cents on why I was there. I've been there 100%. I've been there multiple times. That's why I almost ran into 2 burnouts after being a professional athlete. And I know that pressure. I know how it feels to be pushed forward in that rat race of comparison and just like being like small minded, narrow focused, just like running from task to task and thinking that the more tasks I achieved, the longer hours I worked, the more accomplished I am. And I was on that route. As I said, it brought me 2 burnouts and a lot of pain and sweat and blood and tears. And I was rock bottom and I needed that. So if you're there right now, I want to encourage you that you're always in the right place at the right time. And it is exactly what you need to experience right now for your life to become better. So I want to invite you and welcome to that place if you're rock bottom right now. And even if you can't see the blessing in disguise in this very precious moment, trust me, you're going to be. And even if you're not seeing it, maybe you can just listen to my experience and what I want to share, which is like so close to my heart, which I hope is going to be like a lifeline or a life vest for you in that tough and troubling waters right now. So we can carry you out into the next victory safely. So, as I mentioned, I was a professional athlete, and this runner chaser game, always like underrun, always like busy, always like on time, like, or better like a little bit running after time, because my schedule was so packed and it started early in the morning and it got up way till nighttime, and I was just like busy running, and in that stress mode. And of course, stress for a short amount of time is a very brilliant gift of nature of God, because it makes us highly alert and it makes us highly um, able to perform on a high level. That's what I said, because like the systems run up and like adrenaline flushes the blood in the body, and like we're ready to fight, flight, or freeze. And this is actually a good thing for a short period of time, or even when you are an actual athlete and you want to compete, or you got that one meeting, or you got that proposal with that big client. It's good that we have kind of stress, and the like adrenaline like pumps us up, and we're going in there and then we're going to deliver, and that's fine. But afterwards, we have to give us some rest. We have to cool down the system to actually be able on an intellectual level to reflect and review and judge what happened and how we want to go from here. So that's why I wanted to talk with you about the misconceptions of busyness and how real productivity is actually looking like on the other hand of the spectrum. Because just to dive into that, what is busyness? If you think like, oh, I'm busy and I'm productive, isn't that the same? Let me help you out. It is actually not. Being busy is coming from a fear-based approach. Being busy is coming from that stress-bound approach. Like, I need to do it myself. I need to do it now. I feel like highly competitive. I feel like I'm under pressure. I feel like I have to deliver right now. And then we're tending into micromanagement, and we feel like we have to do it all alone, or otherwise the job isn't get done properly. And we're like really highly competitive, and it is fear-based, because when we are busy and we're like lose ourselves in that busyness, it is oftentimes because it's fueled by perfectionism. And this working harder, hustle, grind, trying to do everything and all at once and in one day and within 24 hours is actually coming from perfectionism, and perfectionism isn't good. It is fear-based. It is the internal voice that's trying to tell us and trying to trick us into those false ideas of, if you can't perform at the best, if you can't be on the top, if you're not able to do everything, if you just display some weaknesses, then you're probably not worthy. Yeah, so busyness and perfectionism comes from deep insecurity and self-worth issues. And let me tell you that we all struggle with that, unfortunately. Like most of the households, most of the parenting homes couldn't get that thing right, and like raise actually children that are really confident without being cocky, that are self-reliant and self-confident and believing in themselves without being arrogant and overbearing. And before you go, like after your parents, just stop immediately, because this is a chain reaction. Everyone does everything to the level they know and understand what they're doing. And I say it all the time, if we know better, we do better. And this is where forgiveness comes in, because our parents and their parents and their parents, like under World War II, where it was blank survival, they did what they can, like the best they could with what they know. And if they would have known better, they would have, like, how to deal with everything and process everything and how to parent and what's important. They did it the best they could. So I'm not, gonna open that whole trajectory right now, but I'm going off course. So it is coming from self-worth issues, this whole busyness and perfectionism approach that you feel like you always have to give a 110% or 150% all the time. And if not, you're in any way, shape, or form feeling like you're inadequate. And what is this leading to? This actually, what people don't understand, this constant overload of things is not just draining you and trying, like, to force you into a burnout of any kind of way, mentally, physically, or emotionally, or all of them, but it actually shrinks down your ability to complete any task properly at all. And that does a lot to your personal credibility. And that even is like a downward spiral. So we overbear, we overload, we always are busy, then we can't achieve it. We make mistakes. So now we feel more inadequate. So the next day we try to work even more and harder, but the body gets more exhausted over time. So we make mistakes. We get frustrated because we feel the effects of doing this for too long. We feel like tired. We can't concentrate or focus properly. We get like moody. Then now we're trickling in relationship conflicts because we're like moody and reactive and frustrating, and we're not really very easy and comfortable to be around. Just like watch the people in your proximity, like watch their mood, watch how stressed and tense they are. And that is most likely because they're operating from a fear-based approach, and they're trying to be busy to prove their worth through performance. But on the other hand, what is actually productivity? That is what we need to have a healthy and purpose-driven business growth. And this is faith-based. Sorry, this is faith-based. And productivity is faith-based. That means it is based on trust, and it is based on a vision and alignment of goals and tasks. Productivity is not running in that survival stress mode. Productivity is being able to take a step back at any time, but you need a relaxed nerve and regulated nervous system to do that. To take that step back out of the war zone, take yourself back, like your pride, your ego. Everything is trying to push you into that fight and competitive mode. To be actually productive, you have to be able to regulate your nervous system, to take a step back, like always see the bigger picture then, and align the next task with your bigger vision and bigger goal. And then if you step back, you are actually able to see where you can collaborate with people alongside the way. whether when you're just busy, you're just like in the midst of it and you can't even see anything around it because high cortisol and stress is like narrowing the focus down to the task ahead. And you can't even see if there's people, places, opportunity that you could have collaborated with and actually elevated your work and your outcome because you're so narrow focused in that fight flight um, mode right now. So, but when it comes back to business growth and success and those two dimensions, I want you to remember and like take throughout your day the fear-based and the faith-based approach of business growth. You may want to listen to another podcast I made about success and what success actually is, because you need that foundation for yourself to determine what is your goals, vision, and your aligned purpose. And this is kind of your baseline. You want to build your tax and everyday business schedule upon in your faith-based approach. And yeah, so I want you to reconsider that. What is success for you? And do you build your success in business or in private for so far? Did you build it on being busy and firefighting, or did you build it on actually being productive out of that regulated, calm, confident approach? And there's two things you can consider as well if you're not sure whether you leaning more towards the fear-based or the faith-based approach. Just looking back the last year or the last couple years and really ask yourself that question and be honest with yourself, because it's just you and you only. And ask yourself, what kind of success did I run after? Did I run after mainly, let's call it worldly success? So were my steps and focuses like really build on competition, on how to build wealth, maybe quick money, how to gain status or fame? Was it very like egocentric and like materialistic you were running after? And how did it make you feel at the end of the day, even if you achieved the big financial goals or the big career goals? Did it really fulfill you on a deeper soul and heart level? And I'm just gonna leave you with that question. um so that's very important. Or on the other hand, maybe you were already at that point where you say, okay, like I climbed out that ladder, I have like 6, 7 figures now, I have a kind of status, I have a career ladder, but actually I feel so empty inside. And you start looking more towards like the bigger picture, like a higher calling, like what is actually success in like a biblical way or in God's way. And you may realize that you started already focusing on faithfulness, serving others, creating actual value for others, and just fulfilling a kind of higher purpose or calling you feel drawn to. And this is different for everyone, but if we learn to listen again, we know exactly what direction is that is we're like magnetically pulled into, and what's like the right thing for us to do and the right place for us in the world to serve and to fulfill this purpose. And let's go back to busyness or productivity. And the misconception is that people that are very busy and their schedules like are full of tasks and they're When you ask them, hey, let's meet, they're like, oh, yeah, you can ask me in 3 months or something. Maybe there's a spot you can squeeze in. They seem like the whole life is like planned out on a timetable and on a schedule. And most of the time, what I realize, especially working in bigger companies, is that they're so busy, so full of meetings and tasks and to-do lists and stress, but they're rarely doing the right things and rarely achieving what they set up for themselves or for the company or for the next fiscal year or whatever it is. And being busy really doesn't always equate being productive. In fact, busyness comes from distractions and obligations, um, especially when you do things out of pressure. And productivity, on the other hand, is like all purpose driven. And we even see like the differences back like in the Bible. Like this is like an old shoe for humans and mankind, that we always have to keep the balance and have to have a close look on whether we're busy or actually productive. Means being really engaged wisely in meaningful work. And in order to be able to even decide what is meaningful work and how to be productive, we need to step out of the rat race. We need to regulate our nervous system. We need to take a break. Didn't it say in the Bible? And me being from Germany, I'm actually very proud of the fact that Sunday, like the seventh day of the week, where the Lord rested, and God rested, it is still a rest day in Germany, and most of the supermarkets are closed. You can go in a mall, and it is really dedicated to rest and family and church if you are a believer. And I really like that, and we should go by that example that is active and valid for thousands of years, because we need rest. And not just to recharge our batteries. I mean, your phone or your laptop isn't running 7 times a week without being charged once, isn't it? I don't think so. And the same goes with us, actually. So we need rest to refill the batteries, and we need rest to perform at a high level and to be productive and to actually build a legacy and an empire. So this is the first step. If you're in that rat race right now, take a step back and take a day off, and then see the magic happens and go from there from a regulated nervous system. Because as long as you're in that stress mode, in that rat race, you can't even make one intelligent decision. And that's in not any shape or way or form um, me being offensive. It is simply human biology and neurobiology and human nature, because we're designed to only focus on surviving being in highly stressful situations. Because if you have to get to war, or if there's a tiger or a shark approaching you, the intellect part of the brain is shutting down, and you don't need that, because in that moment you just need all the functions to freaking escape. You don't need the functions to reevaluate or do a mathematical thesis and write it down about how likely is it to be eaten by the shark, attacked by the shark, surviving the shark attack. No, you just want to get out of there. And the same is in business. So we are not doing intelligent, wise, or even sustainable decisions when we're in that rat race. So if that is you, just I want to encourage you and invite you to take a step back, take a breather, take a day off, or maybe start with a half a day, but like start somewhere and breathe and regulate your nervous system and go from there and reflect. And when you have that, you can really reevaluate and check in. How am I doing my life right now? I'm like always driven by fear, competitive, like as I feel like I have someone like chasing me in my neck, or am I actually starting my day relaxed, calm, confident, with direction, faith, and purpose? And this is how I run my business, how I lead my family, how I lead my personal life, and start there. And then you can align whether your goals are actually based on the purpose and what kind of success you want to achieve for yourself, or if you're busy like doing something and performing for the outer world, for a status, for a material gain, for some kind of worldly success. And don't get me wrong, money is important and money is great and you can do amazing things with it. And of course, this is part of the progress, and just evaluate where money stands. Like, is money the thing you're chasing after, or is money a natural byproduct of doing the things you love, serving others and building great value, and you get it just naturally as an exchange flowing back to you? And yeah, you can just sit down and ask yourself, are my goals and tasks actually aligned with God's will, with a higher calling, with my purpose and my vision? And it is not always about accomplishing everything on your to-do list, but more what is actually necessary to get the job done. So every time you tend towards perfection, towards that 110%, put yourself on the brakes and ask yourself, is that really necessary to do the 110%? Or can I go with the Pareto principle and just like, will 80% get the job done as well? And here comes another thing, another tip is like the power of prioritizing. And really go through your daily to-do lists and tasks and reflect on the importance of that task for your vision and long-term goal. And of course, we all have to do firefighting to some extent because life just happens and unplanned things happens, and that's fine. But you should be running your main business confidently with 80%, so that if the 20% hit, like you're not experience a completely fallout. And you can just like lay back, be relaxed, and just see the wave coming and surf in it confidently. And in order to do that, you have to prioritize, like, and decide what is actually worth your time and energy. And another point is not just work, but also relationships. Because it is really crucial to reflect on relationships and really choose the people that support you, nurture you, that align with your value system, and that are on the same path, like to righteousness and faithfulness and serving others in a higher purpose. And don't try to like mingle with people that are totally after different goals, because you will waste so much energy. And at the end, everyone like has their idea, and it's good to follow what they think is right. But to me, a righteous path and a faith-based approach is just the way to be. And if this resonates with you, then I encourage you to join people that are on that faith-based journey. And yeah, as I said, rest and renewal. And that means all levels and dimensions. Rest your body, your physical body, nourish it well, prioritize a good sleep. Just like think about when did you have like the last really good night of sleep? And if it's been a long, long time ago, then this may be your task to begin with. Prioritize your sleep, rest your body, nourish your body, like be good to your body, as it is your temple, your vessel, and you need it in this lifetime. And rest and renew your spirit, your soul, your faith. Like we need to sit down and like check in with our inner moral compass, with our faith, with our purpose, with God's will, in order to be motivated and keep ourselves on track, in order to be filled with love, with passion, with compassion, with motivation again. You need to be spirit filled in order to drive that vehicle towards your goals. And of course, mentally, rest. We have a million informations like overflowing us, like from early in the morning till late at night, like over social media, over the phone, over meetings, emails, news, newspapers, magazine, wherever you go, you just like bombarded with information and your mind is bombarded. So I want to encourage you to try to sit in stillness and silence for a while. Or if you can't sit and it's like just too hard, go for a walk, go for a run. But don't plug in your ear pods and just like pumping the music up and it crashing through the woods with like hardcore heavy metal or techno music. No, none of that. Don't make a restful walk or a nice jog through the woods or on the beach. Don't make it another thing on the to-do list. Don't make it another thing you push through, you force yourself, you compete, you track your time and your polls and all that stuff. Just you can do that, but especially if you're like an athlete and you're training for a certain level, I get all of that. But please get yourself, maybe at least start with once a week, give yourself the time for a slow walk, for a slow run, for a regenerative run, and just like be still, no music, just you and God or whatever you believe in, just you and the nature, and slow down. A slow ride with a bike, a long walk with the dog, a slow walk or run on the beach with no distractions. And you will feel that you are coming back to life, actually. And this is the foundation to make wise decision and to actually experience productivity and business growth. So then you can reevaluate on your time management, set really intentional goals for the week. Remember that it gets the job done and it's not to be 100%, 110%, 150%. Train your no muscle, train your saying no to distractions muscle, and create a routine that focuses on you, on long-term sustainability, and on the 3 dimensions of your being, on your mental, spiritual, and physical body. And yeah, I would just want to recap and summarize like the main takeaways kind of for you, that I want you to sit down and regulate your nervous system, like take a break out of that rat race for a second and reevaluate for a time in stillness, that what is success for you, and where is that rat race, where is it you're even running after? Because so many people don't even know what they're running after. They're just running because everyone else is running. So please step aside and take a minute and reflect on what success is for you. What is your vision, your dream, your purpose, your goal for this year, but not only for the next couple of years? Where is that direction, that pull you feel going to, and what is it you really want to do, and how you can serve and regulate yourself to be calm in order to have the capacity to have a faith-based approach on your business in life, and to trust in the process, to align your goals and tasks with your vision, and to be able to take that step back to see with whom you can collaborate on that way, because we don't have to do it all by ourselves, and we're actually not going very far if we're only doing it by ourselves. And every time I want you to stop yourself if you notice that you're falling back into the trap of busyness, back into that false idea our mind wants to trick us into, that we need to be busy, we need to outperform everyone in their working hours and task lists and to-do lists, and who has the fullest schedule and timetable. Every time you feel like falling back into that perfectionism trap, and you feel like your shoulders and your neck tightening, getting stress and tension headaches because you feel you're chased, like you're chased like after from a beer 24/7 when being on work, I want you to be aware of that and like check in with yourself. Give yourself that, maybe to start with that biblical biblical recommendation, which is like as old as mankind, and just like take the Sundays off, like dedicate the Sundays to you, to God, to whatever you believe in, to your family, to rest and rejuvenate, in order to be able to actually plan the next week productive and faith-based and confident and calm, and not out of that firefighting stress rat race mode. So thank you dearly for listening to me, sharing my story today and my experiences. Thanks for tuning in, and I would love for you to reflect on what we've learned today, what we've learned together. We're in this together as brothers and sisters, and we don't have to do it ourselves. So I'm glad and blessed to be able to talk to you through this channel. And please feel free to subscribe to the podcast, discuss and share it with others. Please discuss it with me. You can find me on social media and a lot of different forms and platforms. Just reach out, just have a chat, and from here, just I want you to have a simply successful day, simply successful rest of the week and new month. And with everything you do it with a righteousness and a full heart of love for what you do and the people you do it for.